Hey guys, and welcome to TABBY Talks, where we will be chatting all things business, lifestyle, fitness, and a little bit of shit. So, I am excited. I can't believe that after so long, I'm finally doing this myself, with me literally being on someone else's podcast, probably every week for the past year. So most people that know me know that I love to chat, and I feel like I have a lot of things that I can touch on with my experience and my history, obviously in the bodybuilding area, but also when it comes to business and my own lifestyle factors. So today we'll just go through more of an intro type of episode, chatting about me, what I've done, and I also posted a Q&A on my Instagram story yesterday. So we'll go through some of those questions and I'll get back to you guys, and I'm excited to go on this journey. Hopefully we'll be releasing a few podcasts each week or each month, and I'll be able to put out some content that you guys enjoy. So if you're listening and you have any feedback or anything you want to know, make sure you put it in the description below or send me a message, and I'd love to incorporate it next episode. So we'll get into the questions on NGL. We'll start off with some basic ones, and then we'll get into more of the interesting, juicy type of questions as the episode goes on. Our first question that we've got, these are all NGL, by the way. I think there was like a few that were not anonymous, but everyone seems to want to ask anonymous questions these days. That's fine. So our first question is, what is my vision? You clearly have a strong why for success. What is your strong why? So I guess that's kind of what's my reasoning behind what I do. And there's so many ways that I can answer this question, because in the past, when someone would have probably asked what my why is, I would have just jumped to obviously competing and why I compete in bodybuilding, and that would have been my first answer. But I guess now I jump more into the business side of things and think, what is my why for business and coaching? And obviously that is helping others. And I know that's such a generic answer, but I've learnt that the only person who can control things in your life is really yourself. You are a dictator of your life and where you want to go at the end of the day. And it can be manipulated by many, many factors, but sometimes you just need that person in your corner. And I had wished when I was growing up, or when I had have got into the space, that I had someone there to listen to, someone to hold me accountable, or someone I could have looked up to. So if I can help others through my experience that I've had to go through, and for someone else to never have to go through that, then I'm going to. So I guess that's my vision, and my why is to help people navigate themselves into the industry, whether that's navigating themselves into the industry as a coach, or navigating themselves into the industry as a competitor, or as just someone who wants to help themselves and get a little bit healthier. Like I said, in the past, I would have just jumped straight away to competing, and what's my purpose behind why I compete. And even my why behind that is actually changed recently. For those that follow me on Instagram will know that I am currently experiencing some major health consequences, which has changed my outlook on a lot of things. But in the past, my why for competing was that no one can take your physique away from you. You're in control of the food that enters your mouth. You're in control of whether you want to turn up to the gym, if you can't be bothered, and what you do. And well, as of recently, I've learned that that's not true. Your physique can actually be taken away from you, and it can be taken away from you if you don't have your health, because at the end of the day, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have your health, well, you have nothing, which is quite unfortunate. But I think growing up, I didn't really have a lot of control in my childhood growing up, and my outlet was finding that control with nutrition, finding that control with training and exercising. I was a competitive athlete. I was a international and national gymnast for about over 10 years. I think it was 13 years in the end. And obviously that was my outlet from obviously not having a very good space at home. So when I wasn't at home, I was out training, and I could control those factors. I could control my training sessions, if I wanted to go to the gym, if I wanted to stay home, what I wanted to do. And then as I got a little bit older and I started becoming obviously a little bit too old to get anywhere in the world of gymnastics, that's where I started going to the gym and focusing on my nutrition. I realized, oh fuck, like no one can take this away from me. I can look bloody impressive. I can compete on an national stage. I can do pretty well, and this is all from my actions and my behaviors, and no one's taken that away from me. Because growing up, like I said, I didn't have a lot of control, and I didn't have a lot of influence on other people or what I could do in my home life. So yeah, that's my vision in regards to competing. But as I've clearly learnt recently, there are things that I can't control and my physique actually can be taken away from me. But that's because right now there's a few things going on, which I'm sure we'll get into through the episode, that are health related, that has no longer allowed me to be able to train and even a lot of foods. So that's become a bit unfortunate. So we'll go into the next question. And okay, well, I'm actually going to answer this question once and once only because I get this asked all the time and it's annoying, and I haven't wanted to answer it because I don't want to let out any false information. But while I think that I am on the right path to now being able to appropriately answer the question, I may as well. So the question is, do you think your current health concerns have anything to do with your usage of PEDs or how you use PEDs in the past? Or is it all a genetic factor? I'm so stuck between staying natural and incorporating a little something, but I'm so scared of the health effects risks. So I'm just genuinely asking. You can DM me if you prefer. I'll answer the second part of that question first. So I'm stuck between staying natural and incorporating a little something. So I think when you're trying to determine whether you should use, for those that don't know what PEDs stand for, performance enhancing drugs, I think before you go down this route, I think you need to look at, have you currently reached your genetic potential? If the answer to that is no, then of course not. I don't think you should take anything. If the answer to that is yes, I think your next question should be, what are the benefits of me taking PEDs at this point in time? Do you have the genetic potential and the current bone structure to be someone, if you're taking it for bodybuilding purposes, do you realistically think it's worth putting your health at risk to be taking these performance enhancing drugs? Is it worth risking your health for? I'm not too sure. If you've got the genetics, if you've got the bone structure and you've got the drive and you're someone whose end goal is Olympia, then okay, you can start to consider it. And I think why not? But I think there's too many people out there just taking PEDs just because they're wanting to look better or because they're an online coach and they just want to appear better to their audience. And then they don't have any good protocols. They're getting their information off the internet, or they're getting their information from the big dude at their gym. And that's what leads people to having serious health consequences. And I wish I could go back in time 100%. If I could go back in time, I probably wouldn't have done them as early as I did. However, I wouldn't have known that if I didn't go through what I am now. And at the time, I think I want to say I was 19. I definitely wasn't 18, but I'm pretty sure I was 19 the first time I took PEDs. And was I at my, obviously, genetic potential? Fuck no. I had literally only been in the gym. Yes, I'd been training for my whole life, but had really only been having a coach and thinking about bodybuilding for probably 2 years. I had competed in two shows naturally already. So I definitely had proven to myself that I can get lean and I can get conditioned naturally. And for me, I had been told I have great bone structure. I do still think I do. I have pretty good genetics when it comes to my physique. And my goal has been to go to the Olympia. Of course it has. And from a young age, I've always known what I wanted. So it was kind of no question, but to be like, yep, the next step is to take performance enhancing drugs. But at this point in time, it's like, well, I haven't even reached my potential with training. I still am technically probably making newbie gains if I'm 19 years old. Like my nutrition at the time was fine. I've always been pretty good with nutrition, but it was definitely nowhere near what it should have been to be taking these things. And as well, why I'm also open and why I wanted to start this podcast is because I wish someone had been there telling me what I could do, telling me the health risks, because the only person I had to talk about these things was my coach, who obviously said it was okay. And by no means would I ever blame my coach for this. And it was men, because it's, I guess, a taboo topic for females to be taking PEDs. And I think if anyone is going to be doing it, the one thing is just to not lie about it. Be honest with yourself and your actions. And that's the only way you're going to get anywhere. And if I can be that assistance to someone else and make them feel more comfortable chatting about it, and if they're experiencing side effects, then I'm going to. So the first part of that question, which I'll answer, is, do you think your current health concerns have anything to do with your PEDs? My simple answer to that is I don't know. I don't think so. The reason I don't think so is because I've mentioned it to every single one of my doctors. My doctor, my cardiologist, my neurologist. Every time I've been in the ED, I have mentioned them that I have used PEDs for 2 years, and none of them seem to think it's of concern. So, well, they obviously don't think it's ideal, and they have said that, yes, doing that can come with some issues, but they do not think that the issues I am experiencing would be caused by PED usage. For those that may not know, what obviously has been happening is since about September last year when I was in my competition prep, I was experiencing some chest pain, heart palpitations, which they diagnosed me with hypothyroidism. In January, it started to get worse a little bit. The hypothyroidism was gone. That's where they diagnosed me with myocarditis and pericarditis, which is inflammation of the heart, which ended up being a false diagnosis. And later in February, this was ongoing for months and months. I've spoken about this more in depth on my Instagram, but months and months it was going on for. And then in February, I had officially collapsed with a friend, and that's when I just was having uncontrollable seizures at this point. And I can't even remember how many I had that day, but the following day, I was just discharged from hospital, said that I was having anxiety, which obviously I knew wasn't the case. And I remember I was in absolute tears saying I'm too scared to go home. And I live alone, so I knew that if I went home, something good wasn't going to happen. And I didn't feel even safe at the hospital at this point because they told me that nothing was wrong with me and I just had anxiety. So my dad had picked me up from the hospital, and on the way home from the hospital to his house, I had another 3 seizures while I was in the car with him. And he obviously took me straight back to hospital. And at that point, they had admitted me for 5 days. And they actually diagnosed me then with epilepsy. Brain scans, MRIs, everything came back fine. They put me on Keppra, which is just obviously a seizure medication, and that obviously didn't stop the seizures. If anything, it made it a little bit worse. And then they decided apparently that it's no longer epilepsy, and they were saying I'm having non-epileptic seizures. So I feel like at that point I'd been just diagnosed with everything under the sun and actually gotten no answers. I was transferred hospitals and stayed in a neurological ward for another 5 or 6 days with, again, actually no answers. And they kept telling me it was anxiety or something in my head. So obviously me going insane, me knowing a lot about my body, I knew that there was definitely something underlying wrong, that it wasn't anxiety. I'm not an anxious person. I have never really felt like I suffered from too much mental health issues in the past few years. So I knew that kind of wasn't the case. And after doing my own research and going back and forth to the doctors again, back in EDs, I had brought up to them that potentially I may have POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And at this point in time, that seems to be the current diagnosis. Same with having chronic fatigue, and there may be some other underlying issues that we're not sure. So I can't confirm whether that is or isn't a complete diagnosis, but it seems to be currently what is happening. And basically what happens is when I stand up, my blood pressure drops, heart rate goes up. That's why I'm fainting, and they're not sure where the seizures are coming from, whether it's contributing or not. But yeah, to go back to that question, we don't know if it's PED related, and I'm still struggling with this today. I haven't been able to train really since February, I think was the last time I went to the gym, and which kills me obviously. And nutrition wise, I've just had to change my diet completely, eating absolutely nothing out of a packet. The only thing I have that's a little bit artificial would just be like amino acids, but that's about it, just to help get my electrolytes up. So yes, the question for that is the PEDs. No, apparently it's not, but I'm not ruling it out myself. So it could be a genetic factor. My mum, my sister both have epilepsy. Sorry, my sister has epilepsy. My mum runs in my family a lot of neurological problems, so it's not out of the question either whether I do have a neurological functional disorder as well. But time to get into some more questions that are not health related, because I knew that was going to be a big topic, and I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way as well. So let's go into a few questions that I can actually help with, like my clients and potential clients with, is want to stop tracking food but tend to eat badly when I do. Any tips? My one tip is the reason you're probably eating badly is because you're so used to tracking your food. And what I would do with a client if they came to me is, obviously tracking your food is quite comfortable, so I wouldn't take it away from them completely. I definitely don't think you should just like throw a fish in the water and see what it can do. I would slowly taper away tracking. Obviously, tracking is obsessive. Counting numbers is obsessive. Fuck, the amount of hours I spend, used to spend on my fitness pal was ridiculous. I reckon I spent more time on my fitness pal, my screen time, than I would on Instagram because I was just so obsessed with like hitting my macros, hitting my numbers. When in retrospect, the labels, the tracking in my fitness pal is all wrong really anyway. If you're consistently using the data, then like fine. But you got to think someone has just gone in and put data in there. Yes, if it's consistently right, like yes, you can look at averages and stuff, but the data is not inherently always right. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong and you get so obsessed with this. But I've been there, I've done that. So the way I would kind of tailor it for a client is I would make them track the like most of the day. And then I would get them to so say if their calorie target was 2,000, I'd get them to track about 1,500 calories. And then I'd say, okay, now you have 500 calories to do what you want. Go out for dinner, make a meal at home, don't track it, don't use food scales. And that way you're comfortable throughout the day. And then when it gets to nighttime and you're feeling like something, and you're also, a lot of decision fatigue happens at night, right? That's when we really can't be bothered because we start to overeat at night, right? It's because it's like a fuel tank. Your willpower, literally, it's on E at the end of the day and you get tired. That's why we want to overeat, we want to indulge, we want to binge at night. So what I would suggest is just saving calories for the end of the day that you've got spare and then using this to have some flexibility. And like I said before, the reason you're eating bad when you're not tracking is because you're tracking. It's because you're obsessed. You have this all or nothing approach. It's either like you're on, or if you're a little bit off, that what's the point? I may as well just be all the way off. Again, been there, done that. I have a lot of clients experience it. This is where I think it's vital. And you're probably like, but why would I get a coach? Because a coach is just going to tell me, here's my macros. This is how I stick to a plan. And I think there's such a misconception with having a coach these days that you need to be a robot. It's like, okay, what do you do if you don't know how to do something in general, right? You go and ask someone for questions, someone who is specialized in that area to help you. So if you're struggling to eat, if you're struggling to navigate nutrition, even if it was training, what do? Go get a coach. Go get a coach to help you, to help navigate these things. As a coach myself, yes, I think there's an immense benefit in being able to track macros and track calories. I actually think everyone should have some kind of an understanding in how to do it. But it's not my job for you to teach you to track your macros all year round. Like, fuck no. I wouldn't want anyone to go through what like I had been through and being so obsessed and just sitting on your phone looking at my fitness pal. There's nothing worse than that. Like, I'd be out at a restaurant, I'd be hanging out with friends, and I'm just like looking at my fitness pal for no reason, trying to track in food. But the only way to actually get over this is obviously to self-navigate, to be self-aware, and to get someone to help you. Doesn't mean you need to be perfect. We don't expect perfection as you from a coach's perspective. We want to help. And I know with me, I get the most enjoyment out of clients that struggle and we end up overcoming that. We can look back in time. It's not something that's going to happen in a week. It's not something that's going to happen in 2 weeks. It can take months. It can take years for you to unlearn these behaviors. You got to think you've got these behaviors for a reason. How long has it been going on for? It's probably going to take a lot longer than it has been going on for to resolve it and to overcome it. And a lot of people just don't have patience, and time is of the essence. Like time is money and time is important. So I think like spend your quality time actually trying to get help and assistance rather than doing it yourself, because it's going to take a lot longer. My next question is, business related question. We've got, what has been my biggest motivator in business? So this kind of goes back to my why that I mentioned at the start of the episode. When I was a child, I obviously felt like I didn't have much control over my life and my circumstances, and that's something that I've had to deal with. And in a way, it's always been at the back of my head. I'm scared that things are going to be taken away from me because they were as a child, and I had to start from the bottom. And my biggest motivator for my business is to make sure that I've been able to set myself up so that I never have to rely on someone. I don't have to take anything off anyone. I can do everything myself. I can pay my own bills. I can buy my own house. I can buy my own car, and no one will ever be able to take that away from me. If I know that I have a lot of satisfaction in what I've built as a coach and as a person of influence on my socials, then I can be proud of what obviously I have achieved. There's a lot I want to do, but my motivator is to obviously help people be in the same position as me and be able to do things themselves. A lot of people stay in relationships, they stay at home because it's comfortable and because it's nice. And not necessarily relying on someone, but knowing you have someone to fall back on is a nice thing. It is. Like you can't admit that it's not. My thing was I had no choice. I really had no one. Like at one point in time, I didn't have any family and I didn't have even any friends. So there was no one that was going to get me out of that position besides me. And I really had no choice but to obviously try and turn up. And I think when you really are thrown in the deep end in some instant and you actually have no choice and you don't play the poor me card, then that's going to be your biggest driving factor. And my biggest drive is obviously never get back there, but to also help other people never be in the position that I was in. And we'll go on to, these are all just like, they're definitely not the same style of question, but that's fine. So my next question is, what did you want to do if you weren't a coach, and did I go to uni? I did actually go to uni, but I only actually went for 2 days. I remember on the way home, I actually did pretty well at school in year 12 because, like I was kind of saying before, I didn't really have any friends or any family because I was just going through a really shit time at school. And I thought, okay, I need to get like a really well-paying job. I'm going to have to be a lawyer. I'm going to have to be like a politician, a psychologist. I'm going to have to be something good. So I'm going to have to start studying and start trying. So year 12, I really knuckled down. I actually did really well at school. I got into the degree that I wanted to do, which I actually can't remember if it was like crim psych or if it was just like a psychology degree. I went for 2 days and I remember I was on the train home and I was bawling my eyes out and I thought, I cannot go back there. I remember I was sitting in the lecture theatre. I had no idea what the lecturer was saying. And I thought, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And I remember sitting in that room and in the first 10 minutes, the lecturer looked at all of us. I think there was about 800 people sitting in the lecture theatre. And he said to us, out of all you guys here, there's 800 of you. How many of you really think you're going to be psychologists? And the room was obviously dead silent. And at the end of it, he said, I can guarantee there'll probably only be 6 to 8 of you out of these 800 that become a psych. And I mean, you can either look at that two ways and be like, yep, fuck this, I'm going to prove him wrong and I'm going to be one of those 8. If you were like me, I thought there's a whole lot smarter people in here. It's not going to be me. And the truth is I probably wasn't the smartest I probably wasn't the best when it came to like reading, when it came to like writing, and that's why I really had to try at school and I put all my effort into something. So one thing I learned was that if I do really put my heart and soul into something, I can become good at it. But I thought, okay, COVID is hitting. We're being told that we can't go back to uni. We have to actually just study from home for the next term. And another thing about me is I learn best by experience. I learn through going through something. And that's why, well, obviously as a coach now, a lot of the reason why I get a lot of results is because I've gone through a lot of shit. And I obviously help my clients with my tips and tricks. And yes, a lot of study has gone into that too. But I think there is no better experience you can get than your own experience. And COVID had hit and I still decided to be studying. So I was still doing psych. So I ended up actually getting through the term. I never did my exams though. But during that time, I was also doing my Cert 3-4 because I could do that online. I could do that at the gym I was training at the time. And yeah, so I was studying my Cert 3-4. I finished that off in the term. And I also did my 2 days with psychology, and that was it. So look, if I wasn't a coach, if I had no choice and COVID wasn't a thing, I'd probably still be doing the psych degree, or I was always interested in doing something kind of in the political realm, law. I don't know. It's such an interesting one because I was so young when obviously this happened. And I think every year when you're young, you want to be something different. And I think that's an amazing thing as well until you finally figure it out. And I guess for my benefit, COVID happened at a really good time and it happened for a reason. And obviously me becoming a coach today, which I seriously couldn't be more grateful of. And not that I'm any one of a psychologist, but I love studying the brain. I love seeing how it can affect the body. So I feel like I kind of get that psych aspect in coaching anyways. Okay. So like I said, all these questions completely different. So my next question is, what do you think your weaknesses with your physique? Look, okay, like we all know this, it's my glue, but that's fine. If we don't laugh, we will cry. And that's why I took PEDS. Okay, no, but seriously, it's probably like an insecurity too. Anyways, so yeah, we've got that. My weakness is my glutes. So I think, and I mean, I've been told by, I think it's important to be like a realist, but it's also important to be like it just well, yeah, it's important to be a realist. I think reality check, I've got great bone structure. I've got pretty good development for my age. However, I just seriously lack glute shape. I just do. I won't lie, but I do think it is because, well, it can be from a multitude of reasons. I grew up being a gymnast. Any gymnast listening to this will know that we're all extremely quad dominant, and where are the glutes? So as I started gymnastics when I was, I think I think I was 2. I don't think I was 3. I was 2, and I quit when I was 15 or 16. And by that point in time, you got to understand, like, when you're training for gymnastics, you're not training for aesthetics. You're training to be able to obviously control your body and to perform. You're training for performance. So this means you don't need to worry about what you look like. You need to worry about how you perform. So it doesn't matter if your glutes are small. It just matters how you're able to perform an exercise. And if that helps because your quads are just carrying over, great. So when I started obviously getting into the gym, my quads are like, yeah, I've been working for the past 15 years, girl. Like, I know what I'm doing. My glutes can obviously back off a little bit. So honestly, like, not even kidding now, but a lot of the reason why I started taking PEDs was just for me to grow my glutes, because it happened to be weakness. And I remember like one of my coaches, we won't name names, but I remember like a few years ago, I was programmed like over 50 or 60 sets of glutes per week. And I had a torn SIG at the point, and that was just because I was overloading my glutes over and over and over again, and I still didn't come out with any glutes, so that didn't really work. But that's fine. PEDs didn't work, so clearly, guys, you don't need them. Anyways, but if you want to know what my strengths are, even though you didn't ask, I think my strengths are my smile, my tits. I think my strengths, no, for real, I think my strengths are probably just my delts. But again, because of gymnastics, I had great upper body strength from a young age. I think, yeah, as well, people that have like a history in sports, it helps you in the bodybuilding realm, because it's like you're taught discipline, you're taught strength, you're taught structure, you're taught willpower from such a young age. It's literally ingrained in you. And even just like, even my home life, even though it like probably wasn't the best, it's like... It's like I wouldn't really change that for the world, because it's made me a stronger person. And I literally have a tattoo down my back that says, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. And the interpretation I take from that is like, the more you sweat when things are supposed to be good. So if you're in your home life and it's not great, where your home is supposed to be comforting, it's supposed to be comfortable, and it's not, then you're going to be fucking fine in the outside world, because you've taught to rely on yourself. You've taught to grow up from such a young age that it's like no one can take that away from you when you grow up. And so you look at other people and you're like, fuck, I wish I had that as a kid. But it's also like, oh, wait, no, because I've been taught all these skills and these lifestyle factors that you won't have, or you will never have. Okay, let's get into my next question. Okay, I've got 2 questions on this, so I will obviously answer it. Is my breast augmentation. One question is, how long did I wait post-show to have my surgery? And the other question is, why am I potentially getting my breasts removed? In regards to getting your boobs done post-show, I was way too spontaneous with this, and I do actually wish I waited, because what happened was I competed at the Amateur Olympia in November. And I remember I won the novice, I won my open class, I was the youngest competitor there, and then I just lost my pro card. And I thought, yes, I need 2 things. I need tits and glutes. And I went and watched the Olympia in December, and I'm like, fuck, like these girls have boob jobs. Maybe that's what I need. And literally I inquired in December, and in January I got my boobs done. So it was like a month and a bit after I competed. And fuck, I wish I thought that through, because one, I was very lean getting my surgery, and you got to think, after your surgery, you've got 12 weeks. You got 12 weeks, babe. Like, I know people are like, yeah, I was in the gym like 2 weeks later. Okay, I was in the gym going for walks, and I think I was using the Stairmaster like 3 weeks later. Not smart. Don't do that. Like, fucking rest. And I was probably doing legs again, probably 5 weeks later. I started training upper body at that point about 10 weeks later. And your body's going through so so much. It's going through so much stress, and you're going from doing so much prior to the surgery and afterwards you're not doing anything. I think if I can give a tip to anyone is just make sure you've properly reversed, not even necessarily a leanness state. Make sure your calories are high, your energy expenditure's low. Maybe even back, like if you're currently training 5 days, maybe maybe even a month before the surgery, start training like 4 days, just so your body's used to a little bit less activity, so it's not a complete shock to the system afterwards. That's kind of what I would suggest. Not even in relation to a leanness factor. If you can stay relatively lean, what's it going to matter when you get your boobs done? Like, no, I don't think that's really a consideration. I think it's more so your output versus input. And the other question was in relation to, will I get my boobs? Because I know I posted on my Instagram that I'm going to be having my breasts explanted. I have gone and seen 2 surgeons about it. The reason I was going to have them explanted is because I'm not actually sure if my health issues are stemmed from my implants. No, I don't think that I'm experiencing breast implant illness, and my doctors definitely don't think this is a factor at all. I have had like an MRI done, checked to see if they've ruptured. I've had all the tests done, and my implants are actually fine. I've had them scanned, I've had the photos, I've had everything done on them, and everything comes back normal. There's no abnormalities. But you got to think that this is literally a fake product that's not a part of your body that is inside of you. There could be some kind of aspect that your body's rejecting, and maybe it's not showing up on a blood test, but who the fuck knows? Like, it's literally a foreign object in your body. Now, anyone that knows me, I am not against implants. I am not against any cosmetic surgeries, anything that you want to change with your body. I fucking love it. I think that's fine. Go for your life. However, is it worth keeping them in if it's causing the health issues? No. Is there any way for me to find out if it's them? Well, yeah, by doing all the scans, but all the scans are normal. So the only other way to find out if it's my implants is to have them removed. Am I going to regret having them removed and then my health issues are still there? Fucking oath I will. And that's why I'm not jumping to the decision. And no, I have not made a complete decision. I have seen 2 surgeons on it. They still have to ask necessary questions. They still have to go through a lot of processes, and I can choose my surgery date soon. But I am not certain on if that's what I want to do. I don't want to jump to conclusions, and I don't want to jump to an answer because I obviously jumped into it when I got them done. I don't want to jump into it because and get them removed now and then hate my tits after. The reason I got them done in the first place was because I was a bit insecure, but no shit. So I don't want to completely remove them and then go back to that state. I'm experiencing health issues, and then I'm also experiencing a body dysmorphia and insecurity in that aspect. So I'm not jumping to it. And if I can give anyone any piece of advice, think about it before you do it. I know that they go through a whole questionnaire and how long have you been thinking about getting these done, and everyone just kind of lies on them. But actually sit down with yourself and assess whether you think if you have them done, it's going to better your quality of life and better you as a human being. Because I can assure you, when I got them done, it made no benefit. I do not personally think that competitors need them. I fucking don't. Go look at Laura Lee, top 3 in the Olympia, and Miss freaking Arnold Classic. Does she have her tits done? No, she doesn't. So do you need your tits done? Is that going to help you win the novice lineup at the IFBB Nationals? No, probably not. So yeah, I probably wouldn't be getting them if it's just a rash decision to help you with your competitive career. And again, learn from other people. Not that I probably would have listened if someone else had told me, but I've had to go through it to realize that I probably wouldn't have got them done so quickly if I had known. But am I getting them removed at this rate? Not too sure. We're still considering it. Next one. How long have you been coaching? When did you, I think it's, okay. How long have you been coaching? When did you start seeing a good clientele intake? So, like I said, I did my Cert 3-4 at the very start of COVID. And at this point in time, I was training on the gym floor. I can't remember exactly how long I was coaching on the gym floor for, but it was not long. I'm pretty sure it was a few weeks. It might have been 3 or 4 weeks. I reckon I probably only saw definitely under 10 clients in person on the gym floor. And then COVID hit, gyms were shut. And what happened then? I had no choice. Thrown in the deep end, I had no choice but to sort of go online. And at this point in time, it was 2019 or 2020. I actually can't remember. But what was I going to do? My job at this point, yes, I just started, but my job was coaching. No one was really in the online field, so it wasn't a known thing. I had no one to really help me navigate how to go in online. I didn't really know what to do. I didn't have a big social media presence at this time. If you had like a few thousand followers, and I'm not saying you need followers to get clients either. What you need is results. Like clients are coming to you for results at the end of the day. So yeah, I was thrown in the deep end. I started posting on social media. I had done a competition, and doing a competition definitely doesn't help you when you're a coach. I don't think yes, if you want to coach competitors, I think it's great to have that knowledge and that experience, because like why the fuck should someone listen if you haven't gone through it yourself? But not to say that you can't. Like fuck, the amount of like really good coaches I know, they coach amazing competitive athletes, turn hundreds of people pro as well. I haven't competed, so I definitely don't think it's a requirement, but I think it's nice to go through it yourself so that you can like know where your clients are coming from. But yeah, I started posting obviously on social media. I was bloody consistent. I didn't really have much to do with my time. Like, what was I going to do? I had maybe like I said, 5 or 6 clients that I had transitioned over onto online because they were on the gym floor. What else am I going to do with my time? Like, I may as well try market myself. I may as well try post things. I may as well try go do home workouts at the gym, post them on Instagram. Like, try do something. If you're at home and you're wondering why your business isn't growing, fuck, that's good. Your business isn't growing means you got a lot of time on your hands. Go do something with it. Go do something productive. Go do something free. Go help someone out. Clients are coming to you because they want results. Your job is to go get results, and no matter how you get those results, that's going to help you lead to a bigger clientele. So go train people for free. Put out programs for free. Put out content for free. Like if you're getting into the industry and you're expecting to be charging what these high level coaches are straight off the bat and wondering why you're not getting clients, like no shit, you're not getting clients. You don't deserve to have that responsibility there yet, which I think is an amazing thing too. And if you don't go through the hardship and you don't go through the things that are difficult, like you're not gonna like it when you do have the clients coming in. It's not going to mean anything if you just have a heap of clientele coming off straight off the bat. But when I started noticing more clients coming through was, again, here I'm saying it, is when I started achieving a lot more results. But it also came with I was so fucking consistent. Like, yes, you guys probably see me on Instagram, but my main platform, even to this day, is almost TikTok. I post on TikTok probably 2-3 times a day. Not necessarily always fitness content, but it's just like lifestyle content, my personality, if it's education, fun things. People like to build community. People like to relate to personality. And if people can see what your vibe is like, they're more likely to going to be attracted to that. And they're going to want to come to you as a coach. You seem comforting. You seem funny. You seem all these things. People love that. It's like creating a friendship, like creating a relationship. You don't just like look at someone and fall in love with them. But you know what I mean? So it's like you've got to go through things in life. And that was with me. I started putting more things out there on TikTok and people did like that. And that's what helped build my clientele and started building my following as well. And to this day, I still use platform. I don't disregard any of the things I've learned over the past like 4 or 5 years. It's like I still post 2-3 times a day. I still try create relationships, create rapport with people. And what do? I create transformations. And how do I do that? Through experience and through knowledge and education and upskilling. So that answers that question. Okay. So we've got 3 questions here. Oh, actually, no, so the next question is, am I satisfied with what I've achieved in business and competing? What else do I want to achieve? It's such a hard question because truly I don't think I will ever be satisfied, which is something that doesn't work to my advantage always as well. It's not to say I'm not proud of myself. It's not to say I'm not happy with what I've done. I fucking am, but I definitely want more for myself. And it's like kind of, where's that threshold of, yep, I'm finally happy with what I've achieved. I can tick that off. Congratulations. Like I'm done. It's like, I'm only 22. Like there's a whole hell of a lot more that I want to do. With competing, like I haven't really even thought about it because it kills me to think about like my whole life. All I have wanted is to travel and compete. That has been my goal. So obviously in order to do that, I would need a pro card and then I can go overseas and I can compete. That is my goal. I love traveling. I love competing. That's my life. And well, it was. And so am I satisfied with what I've achieved in competing? Like, am I satisfied? No. Am I happy with what I've achieved? Fuck yes. So happy. Obviously, junior national champion, novice national champion, and I won the Amateur Olympia Open class and the Amateur Olympia Novice class and just missed out on the pro card in the Amateur Olympia. So am I happy with my achievements? Yes, but am I satisfied? Definitely not. Do I think I will compete again? It's way too soon to know. It kills me to think about it being no, but it's also, would I be willing to go through what I'm going through right now? And at this point in time, I can't even eat properly. I haven't trained in 3 months. So is it realistic to think I'm going to be getting on a stage? Not really. And your health, like I said before, your health is wealth and your health is priority. So my health's not in check right now, and I probably don't want to put myself ever again in this position. And yeah, to me, it's not really worth going through this again. So I'm not answering that. The answer for that right now is I don't know, and never say never. In regards to business, am I satisfied? Fuck no, at all. Like really at the moment, all I'm doing is coaching people. There would have been some things that I've had in the works that I'm not allowed to actually talk about on this podcast just yet, but it's currently on pause due to my health issues. So hopefully I can help people more in the business realm, especially the females getting into the industry, getting qualified, obviously helping with your businesses and growing that. But that's all I can say about that for now. And obviously I like talking. So obviously I want to go a little bit more with these podcasts, get a lot of people on that you guys would be interested in hearing from as well. So if you do have anyone you want on here, do let me know. We will get to the last question and then we will start to wrap. So the last question is, I actually have not chatted about this, but do you think your past relationship didn't work because you were both very similar / into bodybuilding and had the same job? Well, it's funny because you wrote both very similar. Okay, we may have both been bodybuilders and we may have both had the same job, but I don't think we were very similar. And I think when you are with someone, you should never feel the need to change who they are. And I was never willing to change who I was to make it work. And I take that like fully. And I definitely wasn't someone who was willing to compromise what I wanted. And I think that also comes from an aspect of self-sabotaging, because I'm so scared of things being taken away from me, because I never want to rely on someone. I think it's easier just to be by myself and have no one else interfere. So I think me just slowly crumbling and me slowly taking a step back and not wanting to leverage onto someone and them to help me definitely made the relationship decline. And it's not to say, like, I have the utmost respect for him as well and what he does. I just think together it didn't work, and it was almost like we were trying to force something to work because we thought the bigger picture looked good. And like I said before, you shouldn't need to change who you are to be with someone, and I could definitely see that he was trying to make it work. He really was. And I probably wasn't willing at that time to do that. And that came from my own insecurities and things I needed to work on. So I fully take hand in that. But yeah, obviously wish him the best. I've never spoken about that anywhere. So for anyone listening to this, there you go. You get the little insider scoop. But we may as well wrap this up a little bit now. I think that's all the questions I do have. Let me quickly go on. I think it's actually still uploaded. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. No, they're literally all the basic questions. Freaking Karen. Okay. Never be able to straighten or never be able to curl your hair again. That's actually a tough one because whenever I get my hair done, I only get curls, but I don't know how to curl them myself. So I'd probably go straighten because I would hate to like blow dry my hair and then not be able to straighten it, but not know how to curl it, if that makes sense. So yeah, probably never curl it again. Live forever or die now. These are all from Karen, by the way. Don't let someone in prep ask questions. So, okay, only eat chicken or only eat mince? Probably mince, because mince provides more nutrients than chicken. Fun fact, chicken is one of the worst protein sources nutrient-wise. Like, yes, fuck, everyone thinks like, oh, chicken, rice, broccoli, great for bodybuilders. Chicken, yeah, like cool, it's high protein. But in regards to actual breakdown of micronutrients in a chicken, not great. So yeah, go with mince. Fuck, love mince. And like pasta, you can make so much shit out of mince. Only be able to walk on South Bank or only be able to eat on South Bank. I actually don't think I can answer that question because like when I go for a walk anywhere else, it's not the same. Like, it's not. I hate going for a walk around, like, someone, like, I go to stay at a friend's house to go walk around their neighborhood. It's not the same. Oh, yeah. Fun fact, guys, too. So last week, fun little story, not a fun fact, but last week, obviously, a little bit of a loss of independence at the moment. Even though I'm filming this podcast, I've got Jamie just, like, right next to me. So thanks, guys. But, yeah, last week I was like, nah, I'm feeling good today. Felt bit confident. Thought I'd go for a little trot. And I got about 5 houses down, and anyways, we passed out on the floor, and there's this dude just like blowing his lawn like with a blower, and I'm walking and I can see myself. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever fainted or had like anything like that, but I was walking and I'm noticing my vision's getting blurry, but I'm like, this would be great if the street was empty, but I can literally see someone who's looking at me. And at this point in time, I had like a constant EEG monitor on me as well. So I look like a robot. Like, I have this headgear on, like these electrodes all on my head. So he's already thinking, there's this retard like coming out the front of my house. And all of a sudden I've got the worst blurred vision. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going down. And that once you get this feeling, like, it doesn't turn off. And even if you try and fight it, it makes it worse. So at that point, you should just honestly sit down, put your legs up. I've just grabbed his porch. like sitting on this dude's porch, and I'm just on the floor, like high, like having my hand on it, and he doesn't even come over. Like, he's just still blowing. Like, I'm like so aware of what's happening around me as well, and I can't do anything about it. Like, honestly, a bit of a jerk for not coming over and helping me. But lucky, this has been happening for months, so I like kind of knew I was okay. And as soon as like I could like move my hands, I called one of my friends, Alessandra. She answered the phone. She's like, "Hey, Tabby, I'm just on." I'm like, I'm like 5 houses down at the end of the street. She's like, "I'm just going to Coles. Like, do you need anything?" I'm like, "Pick me up." Anyways, I haven't gone for a walk since. It's been 6 days. I'm not doing well. But if we don't laugh, we will cry. So the question, only be able to walk on South Bank or only eat on South Bank? Well, if the question's right now, I'll probably only eat. But in general... All right, guys. Well, we may as well wrap up this podcast. So, like I said, I would love to be doing one of these podcasts probably once a month. And if you do want any special guests or anyone you think would love to join, not Jamie. Actually, that'd be a good episode. We should so do that. Okay, cool. Maybe next. Yeah, anyone you want on the podcast, and we can talk all things business, lifestyle, fitness, and a little bit of shit. Thank you for listening, and any feedback would be greatly appreciated. Bye. And also, if you do want to follow me on socials, my Instagram and my TikTok is both Tabby Night, but the night is with 2 T's. And my business page on Instagram is TK Performance. So yeah, follow me there. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me a DM, or if you're interested in coaching, click the link in my bio. Thank you.